Built a castle out of words, so delicate and tall. I lived inside the echo of every "I'll be there" you'd call. I traced the outlines with my trust, a blueprint made of air. Never saw the weakness in the foundation, never cared. These paper-thin promises, they tear with the slightest sigh. The vows you wrote in water underneath the passing sky. I try to hold the pages close, but they crumble in my grip. Just whispers of a future that was destined ever to slip. Paper-thin promises, they cut deeper than life. The ink was always fading, a confession in the rain, each forever more uncertain, laced with a quiet strain. I was an archivist of hope, pressing flowers in the book, but you were just a novelist on a story you forsook. These paper-thin promises, they tear with the slightest sigh. The vows you wrote in water underneath the passing sky. I try to hold the pages close, but they crumble in my grip. Just whispers of a future that was destined ever to slip. Paper-thin promises, they cut deeper than life. Was I a fool for believing in the texture of the sound, for thinking that the fragile could ever be profound? Now I'm sweeping up the parchment, the confetti of my dreams. Nothing's as it seems. Nothing's as it seems. Just paper thin, just a ghost upon the wind. I didn't dip my toes in, no, I dove into the deep. Gave you every anchor, secrets I was sworn to keep. My love wasn't a whisper, it was a hurricane force. I showed you all the rivers diverted from their course. 'Cause I loved heavily, with a weight that could sink stone. I love with all my atoms, made your heart my only home, and you held it like a feather, something light to cast aside while I was in the trenches with no I poured a whole sky into pearls. Thought you would drink it slow, but you let it spill and vanish. Had somewhere else to go. My too much was your burden, my death a flooded plain. You preferred a gentle drizzle to my healing hurt and rain. 'Cause I loved heavily, with a weight that could sink stone. I loved with all my atoms, made your heart my only home. And you held it like a feather, something light to cast aside. While I was in the trenches, with nowhere left to hide, I loved heavily, and it wrecked me from inside. They say to love is to be vulnerable, a delicate art. But what's the breaking point of a too available heart? I gave the ocean, you wanted a pond. Now I'm just a shipwreck, wondering what went wrong. Heavily it falls on me. All that love is now a sea drowning me. You left in autumn, with the last leaves bitter turn. Said you needed sunlight, had no bridges left to burn. I thought spring would find me, thaw the frost upon the pane. But the cold you planted in my soul, it decided to remain. Now our winter stays long after you're gone, a permanent December on this lawn where we belong. The birds might sing for others, but my branches are still bare, trapped in a single season of a vanished shared affair. Our winter stays, a freeze frame in the air. I buy thick woolen sweaters, stack the logs beside the hearth, try to build a fire to mimic the sun's worth. But the warmth is just an echo, a performance, a charade. In this house you built of silence, in this endless masquerade. 'Cause our winter stays long after you're gone, a permanent December on this lawn where we belong. The birds might sing for others, but my branches are still bare, trapped in a single season of a vanished shared affair. protected in your case. Or maybe my heart's a cavern that forgot its own warm space. I watch the world turn green and gold, a movie through the glass, living in the after image of a love that couldn't last. The snow, it never melts, it just settles where you fell. I was just a ceiling when you found me in the shade. You promised you were sunlight, swore you'd help me be remade. I pushed through all the darkness, unfurled every leaf for you, reached my petals toward your voice, believing it was true. Now I'm broken and blue, at the peak of my display, color splashed on shattered stems, beauty given away. You picked me at my brightest, just to watch me start to bend, a perfect tragedy of timing, beginning at the end, broken and blue, my loveliest descent. The bees still come for nectar, strangers praise my vibrant hue. They don't see the fissures, the weakness running through. I'm performing being radiant, while my roots are feeling numb, dying from the inside out. The moment you became someone, now I'm broken and blue, at the peak of my display, color splashed on shattered stems, settles on the ground. The most beautiful sound is silence as I break. You didn't scream or slam a door, no dramatic cool display. You just unplugged the universe and quietly walked away. The I love yous turned to past tense, a grammatical decay, a slow retreat of sunlight at the closing of the day. It's a quiet, cold eclipse, the gentle, cruel unknotting of your soul from my fingertips. You don't hate, you just erase the space where we once fit. The most terrifying vacancy is the lack of opposite of it when you just quietly quit. I search for signs of anger, for a fault line I can blame, but you offer polite answers and you softly speak my name. There's no fire left to fight with, just an ember's fading glow, and the chilling understanding that you simply let me go when you unlove. It's a quiet, cold eclipse, the gentle, cruel unknotting of your soul from my fingertips. You don't hate, you just erase the space where we once fit. The most terrifying vacancy is the lack of opposite of it when you unlove. You just quietly quit. How do you battle with the ghost? How do you plead with space? I'm shouting in the vacuum where I used to see your face. Unlove is not an action, it's a slow and still undone. It's the unraveling of everything beneath a passive sun. You just stopped and thought the bottom was that fight, the one where words were knives. I thought the worst was feeling us not fighting for our lives. But there's a layer far below, a darker, colder deep, where silence is the only sound and wounds are too numb to weep. Now I'm falling past home, through the basement of the end, where maybe and what if finally break and won't mend. I passed the point of saving, past the outstretched hands of pride, into the free fall emptiness where broken dreams reside. Falling past hope, with no one left inside. See the memories above me, like small stars in a well. Their light is faint and fading, a sentimental shell. The ground I thought I'd hit was just a ledge, a cruel delay. Just endless falling and the closing of the day. Now I'm falling past hope, through the basement of the end, where maybe and what if finally break and won't mend. I passed the point of saving, past the outstretched hands of pride, into the free fall emptiness where broken dreams reside. Falling past hope, with no one left inside. Say you find a new foundation when you hit the rocky floor. But what if you just keep on falling forever, evermore? What if the lesson isn't landing, but the endless dark descent? A monument to love that came and violently went. Past hope, past grace, just empty space. My heart still beats its steady drum, a faithful, stupid art, but it's playing to an empty home, a solo from the start. It sends its tired rhythm out to where your hands once lay, but my pulse just wanders lonely now and loses its My pulse wanders through the silence, down veins you used to know, searching for your fingertips in every high and low. It trips on ups and conversations, stumbles in the quiet night. A remnant lost explorer, robbed of all its light. My pulse wanders, and it can't get the rhythm right. It used to sync with yours, a perfect tandem rhyme, a metronome for always, for a sweet unmeasured time. Now it's just a ghostly echo in a hollow bony cage, a prisoner on a treadmill, turning page after empty page. My pulse wanders through the silence, down veins you used to know, searching for your fingertips in every high and low. It trips on apps and conversations, stumbles in the quiet night. A rhythmic lost explorer, robbed of all its light. My pulse wanders, and it can't get the rhythm Even my whole body betrays me, this vital, stubborn part. It keeps on beating for you, though you're gone from my heart. It's a refugee without a home, a song without a key. This wandering lost pulse that still beats just for me. But in the blue, just wandering. The last fight wasn't thunder, just a sigh that filled the room. The death of us was punctuated by the closing of a tomb. We ran out of the adjectives for hurt, for pain, for wrong. And what was left between us was a silence deep and long. Now I'm sinking into silence. It's a velvet heavy sea. It presses on my eardrums. It's all that's left for me. No more pleading, no more questions. Just the vacuum you design. The loudest sound I'll ever hear is the essence of your mind, sinking into silence, leaving love behind. I used to fear the shouting, the cacophony of fear. Now I'd give anything for any proof that you were here. But the phone is just a paperweight. The door a static frame, and the quiet is a predator that knows me by my name. Now I'm sinking into silence. It's a velvet heavy sea. It presses on my eardrums. It's all that's left for me. No more pleading, no more questions. Just the vacuum you design. The loudest sound I'll ever hear is the essence of your mind, sinking into silence, leaving love behind. They say time heals with noise, new laughs, new steps, new sound. But I am dissolving slowly without a single pound of a word, or a whisper, or a tear against the floor. Just the endless drowning quiet behind a sealed door. So quiet I can hear my own heart disappear. There's a fraction of a second in the space from beat to beat, where the world holds its breath and feels incomplete. That's where I live now, in that ever-opening crack, where the future just collapsed and the past can't come back. I'm lost between heartbeats, in the gap where you let go. Can't move forward into after, can't go back to before. I'm trapped in the moment you walked out the door. It's not a place on a timeline, it's a synapse, a delay. The eternal silent pause at the end of what you'd say. I'm lost between heartbeats, in the gap where you let go. Not in the past, not in the future, in a terrifying limbo. One beat held a memory, the next one holds the scar. And I'm stranded in the nothing, in the in-between. So far lost between heartbeats, wondering where you are. A cardiologist can't find it on a screen, it doesn't show. This no man's land of feeling, where the bitter breezes blow. It's the lifetime and the low, the abyss and the are you in, where hope ends and waiting begins. Between the bad and the dumb is where I have become. It wasn't one goodbye at the door, with a suitcase in your hand. It was 100 tiny exits I didn't understand. The day you stopped requesting my favorite song to play, the way your good morning started slipping away. You were leaving me slowly in 1,000 subtle trains, dimming all the colors into everlasting shades, replacing we with I, pulling threads out of the sea, turning all our shared dreams into a solitary dream, leaving me slowly, so it wouldn't seem so mean. You left in the quiet moments and the unheld space between, our fingers on the table in a lack of what you mean. You left with every topic you decided not to start. You left me piece by piece, dismantling my heart. You were leaving me slowly in 1,000 subtle traits, dimming all the colors into everlasting shades, replacing we with I, pulling threads out of the sea, They say the anger fades away. They say the tears will dry. They say one morning I'll wake up and I question why. The sharp edge may grow duller, less insistent pain, but the outline of the wound, the hollowed space, the hurt remains. Oh, the hurt remains. It's a fossil in my chest, a sedimentary reminder of the love I knew the best. Not a scream, but a whisper in the architecture of my bones. The permanent resident in these now too quiet home zones. The hurt remains when everything else is gone. I can box up all the photographs, delete your number now. I can't even speak your name without breaking any vow. To move on, to be better, to let time do its part. But it's carved into my landscape. It's the bedrock of my heart. Oh, the heart remains. It's a fossil in my chest, a sedimentary reminder of the love I knew the best. Not a scream, but a whisper in the architecture of my bones. The permanent resident in these now too quiet home zones. The hurt remains when everything else is gone. It's not love anymore. That fire has turned to peat. It's not even missing you. That ache saw its defeat. It's the pure, unadorned hurt, the fact of what was lost, the permanent, cold subtraction, and the lifelong bitter cost. It just remains a constant, gentle rain. Your love was summer solstice, a blanket safe and deep, a fire in the fireplace while the world was asleep. I memorized your sunlight on my skin, a golden stain. Never felt the shadow coming, never knew the chill of rain. Now it's warm, turned cold, a shocking, stark reverse, a heart that's full of ashes, a universe perverse. cruelest thing. I wrap myself in layers, sit directly in the sun, but the chill is from the inside, a frost you have begun. My bones are singing winter, a song of deep regret, for all the heat I borrowed, for a debt I can't forget. Now it's warmth turned cold, a shocking stark reverse, a heart that's full of ashes, a universe perverse, where the memory of your comfort is the sharpest kind of sting, and the sweater that you left here can't stop the shivering. Warmth turned cold is the cruelest thing. You don't just miss the person, you miss the climate of their soul, the ecosystem of their presence that once made you whole. Now I'm an Arctic of the spirit, a tundra in July, living in the ghost of a sun that said goodbye. Cold, so cold, a story that's been told. There was no grand explosion, no final crashing wave, just the colors getting softer, the good we couldn't save. We became an old photograph left out in the sun, the details blurred together until we were no one. We faded quiet, from a painting to a trace, a slow erasure of the laughter from this place. Our love didn't shatter, it just lost its appetite, dimming from a bonfire to a mere forgotten light. We faded quiet into endless muted night. The conversations turned to echoes, the touches just routine, the space between our bodies filled with what did not mean. We were ghosts in our own household, polite and ever kind, while the love that built it slowly vacated our own minds. We faded quiet, from a painting to a trace, a slow erasure of the laughter from this place. Our love didn't shatter, it just lost from a bonfire to a mere forgotten light. We faded quiet into endless muted night. Sometimes a violent ending is a mercy in its pain, but this was just a withering, a slow, relentless strain. To watch the portrait of us bleach out to gray and have nothing left to fight for or even left to say. Faded to a side, then to goodbye. I don't touch the doorknobs where your handprints might have been, but the air in certain hallways still remembers your skin. Today is just a blank page, pale and offering light, but I'm a document already bruised by yesterday's tight fight. Bruised by yesterday, it's a tender purple lane, a shadow on my sunshine with every step I take. The future reaches for me with hands both clean and new, but my soul is stained with fingerprints of loving you. Bruised by yesterday, through and through. I try on happy moments like dresses that don't fit. They hang on me awkwardly, highlighting every bit of the mark your absence left, a contusion on my joy, a souvenir from a battle that I lost, my best decoy. Bruised by yesterday, it's a tender purple lake, a shadow on my sunshine with every step I take. The future reaches for me with hands both clean and new, but my soul is stained with fingerprints of loving you. Bruised by yesterday, through and through. Healing isn't linear, they say, with hope said the word on Tuesday with the rain against the pane. A single solid syllable to summarize the pain. I thought that was the finish, the period, the end. But I've been learning since that moment how false that was, my friend. 'Cause goodbye never ends. It's a ripple in the air. It's in the empty coffee cup you didn't think to share. It's in the songs I have to skip, the jokes you won't be told. It's 100 little funerals for a future growing cold. Goodbye never ends. It just unfolds. You said goodbye to your body as you walked out through the door. But I'm saying goodbye daily to 1,000 things and more. Goodbye to our restaurant. Goodbye to that old shirt. Goodbye to thinking I am someone's safe place on this earth. 'Cause goodbye never ends. It's a ripple in the air. It's in the empty coffee cup you didn't think to share. It's in the songs I have to skip, the jokes you won't be told. It's 100 little funerals for a future growing cold. Goodbye never ends. It just unfolds. It's the long, slow letting go of the ghost inside the home. It's the goodbye to the person I was when I wasn't alone. It's not one act of leaving, it's a lifetime of release, a journey towards a fragile and an unfamiliar peace. Goodbye again and again and again. My arms remember how to curve the shape they made for you, a perfect fitted parenthesis for everything we knew. They hang here at my sides now, confused and feeling light, rehearsing an embrace for a shadow in the night. And I'm still holding nothing but the memory of weight, the phantom on your shoulders that sealed our shared fate. These muscles trained for keeping now ache with the abuse of clinging to thin air. shadows on the sidewalk, tangled up and intertwined, and my empty arms just flinch at jealous, hungry mind. They twitch towards the vacancy, a habit of the soul, trying to complete a circle that will never be whole. And I'm still holding nothing but the memory of weight, the phantom of your shoulders that sealed our shared fate. These muscles trained for keeping now ache with the abuse of clinging to thin air of a permanent excuse. Still holding nothing is all I have left to lose. What do you do with limbs that were built to hold a home when the home has left the building and you're standing here alone? Do you let them fall and wither, or keep them poised in pain, forever in the posture of the love you could not contain? Holding a shape that isn't there. I cried a river on the day finally said we're through. I thought that was the ocean, thought the storm was finally through. But grief is not a single flood, it's a drip, a constant sea, a leak inside my soul that won't let me get to sleep. Now it's tears on replay for the same old tired scenes, the movie of our ending on the backs of my eyelids. It seems a sob for what you said, a silent streak for what you didn't do, an endless salty cycle falling just for you. Tears on replay, they feel brand new. They come in grocery lines, they come at stoplight red, they come when I hear that one phrase you used to have said. I'm not even thinking of you, then my vision blurs and swims. My heart has its own schedule for these grieving rhythmic hymns. Now it's tears on replay for the same old tired scenes, the movie of our ending on the backs of my eyelids. It seems a sob for what you said, a silent streak for what you didn't do, an endless salty cycle falling just for you. Tears they feel brand new. I'm not a fragile woman, I face down harder blows, but this is autonomic, something that my spirit knows. It's the body weeping for a soul that's been misplaced, a liquid endless echo of a love I can't erase, replay. Scene one, the damage you have done. My arms remember how to curve, the shape they made for you, a perfect fitted parenthesis for everything we knew. They hang here at my sides now, confused and feeling light, rehearsing an embrace for a shadow in the night. And I'm still holding nothing but the memory of weight, the phantom of your shoulders that sealed our shared fate. These muscles trained for keeping now ache with the abuse of clinging to thin air, of a permanent excuse, still holding nothing. Is all I have left to lose. I see couples on the sidewalk, tangled up and intertwined, and my empty arms just flinched, a jealous, hungry mind. They twitch towards the vacancy, a habit of the soul, trying to complete a circle that will never be whole. And I'm still holding nothing but the memory of weight, the phantom of your shoulders that sealed our shared fate. These muscles trained for keeping now ache with the abuse of clinging to thin air, of a permanent excuse, still holding nothing. Is is all I have left to lose. What do you do with the limbs that were built to hold a home? When the home has left the building and you're standing here alone, do you let them fall and wither, or keep them poised and pained, forever in the posture of love you could not contain? Holding air, a shape that isn't there. I was a poet of our love, a writer of our days. I had 1,000 sonnets in your laughter, in your gaze. I could name the constellations and the freckles on your skin, but the moment that you left me, all the language caved in. Now I'm left without words, in a silent, stunned despair. The dictionary's empty, there is nothing, nothing there to describe the hollow screaming where my vocabulary fled. The sentences are broken, all the narrative threads dead, left without words for the things you did and said. My friends ask, how are you? And I just open up my mouth, and out comes arid air from a dried up wordless south. I want to tell the story, to define this brutal pain, but my tongue is just a fossil in the aftermath of rain. Now I'm left without words, in a silent, stunned despair. The dictionary's empty, there is nothing, nothing there to describe the hollow screaming where my vocabulary fled. The sentences are broken, all the narrative threads dead, left without words for the things you did and said. You stole the metaphors, you took the adjectives away. You left me with a blank page and a permanent mute grave. The greatest loss, perhaps, for a soul who lived in verse is this soundless, nameless universe. No words, just sound. this silence so profound. I don't wear my sadness out, I paint a smile on tight, I do the work. I see my friends, I fake the morning light, but there's one color that I trust with all I'm going through. It's the quiet knowing witness, the color blue. 'Cause blue knows everything, the dusk sky knows my lack, the uncold ocean knows the weight of the dreams I can't take back. My favorite worn out sweater holds the shape of where you've been, the fading ink in my old journal where our story did begin. Blue knows everything of the quiet storm within. The bruise upon my soul, it doesn't show in black or red. It's a midnight indigo, the place where hopes are bled. The lonely waning hours between midnight and the dawn are painted in the color of the love that's now withdrawn. Can't take back. My favorite worn out sweater holds the shape of where you'd been, the fading ink in my old journal where our story did begin. Blue knows everything of the quiet storm within. It's not a screaming color, it's a deep and patient hue. It holds the vastness of the lost without demanding a cue. So when the world sees beige and gray and thinks that I'm okay, I share a silent language with the blue that rules the day. Knows the truth, the wisdom of my youth.